There's a few questions in my hand. The first question, I read it out to you so that you know the question. I read in the book you handed out a few weeks ago that the Buddha Conservation Sutra has stated that a student of Buddhism should not start to learn Mahayana Buddhism without first learning Theravada Buddhism. What do you think? Mahayana already includes Theravada. Theravada is basically self-reliance on the practice. You have to rely on yourself for meditation. You have to do meditation. You have to do the 4 contemplations. Contemplate the body as impure. Contemplate your perception, or contemplate your perception as suffering. Contemplate your mind as impermanent. Every thought is impermanent. Contemplate all Dharma as with no self. So it's already been, the Theravada has already been included in the Mahayana. So if you learn the Mahayana, automatically you're practicing the Theravada. I think the best is not to differentiate which school. Aim at the practice, not at the difference of the approach, because Mahayana includes Theravada. If you can completely eliminate the ego, so no ego, no personality, no being, no life, you completely eliminate no more ego, no more I, then you're out from samsara, out from life and death, in a nirvana already. But if we go one step further, even the concept of no ego, no personality, no being, and no life has to be gotten rid of too. Then you go further to the Bodhisattva's approach. The Arahat approach is more of, I'm safe, I'm out from life and death, I'm out of samsara. And that's good enough. I walk out of the forest, of the dark, gloomy, the forest of suffering. I got the map. Buddha gave me this map, and I followed this Theravada map, and I got out from life and death, from the forest, from that forest of reincarnation. I walk out, which is nirvana already. And then the Mahayana said, it's not just yourself walking out. You're going to go back to save the folks behind. Walk back there. Or on the verge of the forest, you don't even want to go to nirvana. How can I go into nirvana, out of samsara, where my folks are still suffering? I want to be with them. I want to go back and tell them and show them the map, show them the map of how to get out. I can't forsake my folks. So what you're saying is, learning to get out, people, you just learn to get out and that's it? No, you have to go back to save. Because you, as a Bodhisattva, you consider yourself as one with all the other folks. So, one includes the other. Why differentiate? But if you practice Theravada, that's good enough. You walk out from the forest. Maybe when you walk out from the forest, then you know at the verge, when you're walking out at the verge, you want to go back and become a Bodhisattva. It's a matter of level. Both are good. The Mahayana includes the Theravada, and the Theravada has a section of the Mahayana. And that section is sufficient for walking out from the forest. So, it does not matter which one is more appropriate to you. If you think that I'm practicing meditation, I learned to be the Arahat. I learned to walk out of the forest. That's excellent. no more suffering for you, no more reincarnation. But if you say, I want to be like Siddhikapa Bodhisattva, never walk out of the forest. I'm always in the forest until all my folks are out. Then I'll be the last one to get out. Isn't that a great wish? You put all the responsibility on your shoulder to save. That is the highest compassion. That is a compassion with absolutely no self. You're one with all the other folks. That's Siddhikapa Bodhisattva. The statue on this side up in the gracious hall with a shaft. And he vowed to be in samsara until all sentient beings are in nirvana. And there are many bodhisattvas also who follow that path. So which one you prefer? So actually, it's so lively. Not just one way, not just one road, so many roads. So Buddhism is, if you call Buddhism a religion, sometimes don't stick to label it with words, but for the sake of calling it, Buddhism is a religion that does not oppose to any other authentic religion, because you're walking different paths to the same way. Broaden your view. They all be bodhisattvas, finally they all be Buddhas. They'll all get enlightened. They just walk in different roads. And some people may go detour, sidetrack to other areas, and they come back again. Of course, it's sidetracking to the others. You get to more samsara and more suffering, but finally he comes back. Because we have that nature in us, the Buddha nature in us, to get to nirvana. So, if you want to learn the Theravada, you learn the Theravada. If you are in Mahayana, why stop Mahayana? You don't need to stop it. Next question. Besides the ego, what else is reincarnated with us? Is the ego our essence and identity? Ego, if we want to relate the ego to identity, that's not your real identity, that is your illusory identity. An identity that you think that is you, but it's not you. It's empty. It's just a conglomeration of all causes put together that you become that identity. That identity has no self, real nature. It exists, but it's unreal. It's impermanent. It's causality. It has no real nature in it, per se, no real nature. But we attach to it. We think that's our identity. That ego, there's another school of thought called the Vijnana-matrata, studying the consciousness. That ego is the tainted consciousness, which is the alaya consciousness. That alaya consciousness, if we call it ego, reincarnates. What else is reincarnated? That consciousness. Is it your essence and identity? It's your unreal essence and identity. It's an identity that you think is you, I think is me, but it isn't. That's the problem. We recognize something unreal as real, and we attach to it. We create karma because of it, because of ego. We create all kinds of karma, and the karma, good karma, bring us to higher level, and bad karma brings us down to lower level. That's what you are today. That's why we're all different. So, what else is reincarnated? That consciousness, that the alaya consciousness reincarnates. It reincarnates one life after another until your karma is all pure, no more karma. You go beyond karma. When you go beyond that, in the Theravada approach, there's arhat. No more samsara, no more life and death. you and I, we always in life and death, in suffering. When there's life and death, there is suffering. There's sickness, there's aging, all kinds of suffering because of life and death. So that's the problem of the ego. And people who don't look at the spiritual side of the world, study the spiritual life, they always think that I have to maintain I. I is important. I want to do this, I want to do that. I want to be the president, I want to be this, I want to be that. And if you do it the right way, it's probably beneficial. If you don't do it the right way, if you are stepping on other people to get to the top, a lot of bad karma is created. But there are people, of course, who go a higher level by doing it the right way. Then you're creating good karma. But you're never out from karma. We're never out from the prison of karma, the prison of the ego. We haven't been out from it. And the Buddha points us the way. The Bodhisattvas point us the way to get out. But it's difficult because of the karma. Because all those who have the chance, the opportunity to know about the Buddha's teaching is rare. When Buddha was alive 2,600 years ago in India, in the city where he lived, 1/3 of the population had seen and listened to him. 1/3 of the population only heard about there was a Buddha, never have seen or listened to the Buddha. They heard about his name. And the other 1/3 had never seen and know nothing about the Buddha. But all these people were at the time when Buddha was alive. Only 1/3 of the people have that rare opportunity to listen to the Buddha's teaching, to get that map to get out. Because they have that causality so that they have the chance to know about it. So different people have different karma. And we all here, we all know that now, people here, we know the Buddha's way. And imagine, in Vancouver, how many people practice? How many people actually know the spirituality of life, not just the material? How many people are interested in knowing more about life, about where we come from, why are we here, where are we going after death, and how do we better ourselves in our spiritual life, and getting the answers for all these whys of life. Are there many people interested? They may be interested in, I don't know, the Epicureans only interested in satisfaction of their senses. They want drinking, eating, playing, I don't know, sensual pleasures, watching televisions, karaoke, and go visiting, going play golf, and growing. They're only interested in all these. And when they get angry, they just express their anger, yelling, shouting, cursing. When they are jealous, they just plan on getting a revenge or plan on getting you. You're better than me, you should be worse than me, and maybe I should get on, I should be better than you. And all these things, they're only interested in these things. They're not interested in where would I go after I died? How do I help my folks in all these things for the betterment of mankind? Or occasionally there are the heroines and the heroes who thought about benefiting mankind. Those are the great people, great women of the world. We have those people in history. in the history of mankind. Not too many, but there are people like that. The majority are just flowing with the current, one life after another, creating a lot of bad karma, a lot of good karma, perpetuating all this relationship. Last life you were with him or her in your relationship as brothers, sisters, husband and wife, and they're unended business, and carry forward into the next life and carry on again. And sometimes sadness, sometimes happiness, sometimes you name them. Going through all this emotions of life and sufferings of life. And then finally when the time comes, when death comes, they just accept it, nothing they can do, and go. They never think about, how do I go beyond death? Do I really have to face death in every one of my life? Or this is my final death. No more death after this one. No more death of the body. What do we call no more death of the body anymore after this life? No more death of the physical body. No more suffering. That's called nirvana, the arahat. Not just leaning down and prostrating and worshipping and depending on Buddha to give you the blessings. No, that's not it. That's not the Buddha's way of just getting blessings. If Buddha can give you blessings and save you and help you, there'll be no more people who suffer, because he would help everyone already. If Buddha has this power, even though you're committing all kinds of bad karma, he has the power to lift you from bad karma. Imagine, Buddha is the all-compassionate one. He would have saved everybody. Now if you are the compassionate one, the all-compassionate, the all-merciful, if you have that power to save, would you have saved everybody? Or you let them just go through the suffering and wait? Or let them go in reincarnation? The Buddha pointed you the way. You still have to walk out of the forest. You still have to know the way to walk out. You yourself walked. Nobody can walk it for you. So, besides the ego, what else is reincarnated? The alaya consciousness. We have been going life after life after life. And in this life, you learn about the Buddha's teaching. You know that seed had been planted in you. It's been in your computer memory. That alaya consciousness contain a memory that is immeasurable. It contains all the seeds in there. That seed of nirvana is planted in you. When would it germinate into a shoot and then mature into a tree and then flowers? It depends on this life and all the other lives. But a seed is planted. So it's important to plant seeds. It's important to plant that cause of nirvana, that cause of enlightenment. Okay, the next question. You're venerable, you're teaching us that no ego, no passions, but we go to the outside, to the normal living world, and then we have to face, to generate what we will need for our old age. This distracts us. How can we find the exact middle point where we can find these two things not in conflict? Well, I think what it's talking about is, on the one hand, we say we should practice no ego. On the other hand, when you go out to the outside world, if you absolutely have no ego, you have no protection yourself, and you're not striving for anything, then maybe you're losing out. You're not facing the practical reality when survival of the fittest, people say. Survival of the fittest. If you don't protect yourself, you don't survive, then you lose out. So what's the best middle point? Well, you're practicing no ego, no passions, and in the process of doing it, you still need the intelligence, you still need the wisdom of the protection. In other words, when people, when you know that someone is taking advantage of you, or because if you're being taken advantage of, you lose out a lot of things, or you go into trouble, or you go into conflict, then you know how to protect yourself. But that's normal. But just watch it that you don't overly protect yourself, that you ruin others. In a lot of ways, many businessmen told me when I talked to them, is that I didn't do anything wrong in my life, in my business, and I didn't ruin anybody. I just doing my business. But then as we further our conversation, we find out that in the process of protecting yourself, if you overly protecting yourself, you're hurting others. And you don't know about it. You protect yourself too much. Say, for example, you draw a contract, you want all the terms to protect yourself. And you may even in the process of fabricating something, or in the process of introducing a term that your opposite party does not know, because you want to protect yourself. That's karma. You watch yourself. You work within the discipline. You work within the parameters that you're not creating bad karma. That's why you have to take the precepts. In the process of learning the eagerness approach, you need support. You need the Vinaya support. You need to conform to certain precepts. Abstaining from killing, from lying, from sexual misconduct, from stealing, from intoxicants, and many of these things would give you the criteria to protect yourself. You think those precepts will restrict you? They protect you. They remind you in interacting with the world, with the outside world, this is what I cannot do. I cannot kill, I cannot steal, I cannot lie. If I do that, it seems that I have the advantage of all that because I cheat people. Oh, that's good for me. I got all this because I cheat them. But the bad karma will finally get back to you. You can't get away with it. You may win at this present moment, but you face dire consequences. So when you know about these precepts that you have to observe, you get protection. The precept tell you, hey, you can't cheat, you can't do this. So actually observing precepts, taking on a rope, observing precepts, to give you the protection, give you the criteria in the outside world how to interact with people. You think you're being a fool that you observe all this Vinaya and all these precepts? No. You think you're a fool when you're in a restaurant, when you're dining with your friend, and your friend wants lobsters, and the waiter bring out a live lobster to be seen by everybody, and then they slaughter the lobsters and cook it, and you know you should not kill it. You should say, no, don't kill it for me. I don't kill animals, and I already have my precept, abstaining from killing. So I cannot stop you from eating it, but don't kill the lobster for me. Then you don't have that bad karma. Or you may influence your friends that, oh, is that so? Why don't you eat lobsters? Because I don't like to kill animals. I try to be a vegetarian, but I cannot, so I only eat frozen meat. So they may be touched by you and say, what's the reason of being that? And they keep on explaining, and finally he himself becomes a vegetarian. Then you turn a non-vegetarian into a vegetarian person. You're creating good karma indirectly. So many things, many examples, I can go on. You understand? So why don't you take the precepts? There are 5 precepts. You can take one. You can take abstaining from killing, unless you like to kill animals. Abstaining from killing, abstaining from lying, abstaining from sexual misconduct, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from intoxicants. These are the 5 basics that if you want protection, you observe them. They don't give you restrictions. They don't give you limitation. On the other hand, they give you the protection. Many people thought these are limitations to me, these are restrictions to me. I can't do this, I can't do that because of these precepts. They just think it the other way. Last question. Is a real story, one girl has been very beautiful according to what you've said today because of then a good karma. He got married with a millionaire, very nice guy, but he's not nice. But she's not nice. She became greedy, treats everybody very badly, even the friends and family. What's happening to her? Is she changing her karma? Can good people change into bad? Good people can change into bad people, and bad people can change into good people. That is changeability. That is the truth of the world. Everything changes. Some change for the better, some change for the worse. And the fact that she's beautiful and she's married to a millionaire, she created all this karma. And after she got married, she turned into a bad person, being very selfish, being very greedy. She's creating bad karma for herself. Lots of people are like that, not just this lady. Some people started off with bad karma, but they strive to create good karma. They become better and better and better. They're improving their life. This is very ordinary. Because of what she's done, she's beautiful and married to a millionaire, but later she changed, and she's going to suffer in later life, or maybe in the later part of her present life. We don't know. So it's very important that we all should know the Buddha's teaching so that we have criteria to abide by. Remember, Subhuti asked, a virtuous man and woman in developing the supreme enlightenment mind, how should their mind abide? How should they abide their thought? How should we abide our mind so that we're not creating bad karma? How do we abide our mind so that we are creating good karma? How do we abide our mind so that we are pursuing that spiritual odyssey to tread the path of the sages unto nirvana? So that's the initial question of Subhuti in the Diamond Sutra. How do we abide our mind in? It's very important that you know how to abide your mind in so that you're not creating bad karma. We are in a very, capricious situation, very changing. The environment changes. Very capricious all the time. We always face with allurement. We're faced with things that would attract us into doing bad things. If you don't have that determination, if you do not know how to control yourself, you tend to go with them. That's what people always do that. They get into bad friends. So when in most of the Chinese Buddhist temple, they have a gate. Some people call it the heavenly gate, and they have a signboard on which they printed the 4 characters. Look back for the shore. In other words, whatever you do, always look back. Have I done it right? You've done something? Have I done it right? Do I need to change?